Hello, Rock and Roll Daycare staff. It's Phil here with your Tuesday training tool for the day, and today we are talking about Glockenspiels. We just got new Glockenspiels for all of the kids in the preschool rooms, but if you're an infant or toddler teacher, I still think there's a lot of really valuable information that you can learn about these instruments and how to use them not just as a toy, but to really use them as a way that we can learn about music and learn about expressing ourselves musically, both for kids and for grown-ups. Look at our Glockenspiel here. You can tell the first thing is that we have 8 notes. You may call this a C major scale. It's also you could also call it a diatonic scale. Diatonic just means that we're playing every other note. It's a little difficult to see when you're looking at just the Glockenspiel, the rainbow Glockenspiel. But here's the big boy. This is the full one. This is basically the same as a piano. The notes that are down here are the white keys, and the notes that are up here are the black keys. So when we're playing our little Glockenspiel, the rainbow Glockenspiel, we're limited to this range. It's like we're playing just the white keys on a piano. So just like we have on our Glockenspiel, ignoring this part, just focusing on the notes we have 8 notes. But you'll notice that these notes aren't actually all right next to each other. In between, we have these in-between notes. These are called accidentals, right? They're the notes that are in between 2 notes of the scale. And you'll notice that we have them everywhere except here and here. So we have 2 places in our white key scale, our diatonic scale, where we don't have accidentals in between. We don't have a black note here, and these notes are right up against each other. So when you play these 2 notes that are right next to each other, same thing as if you would play a white note and a black note that are next to each other, we have dissonant sounds. Dissonant means basically it sounds bad, for lack of a better term. Then the vibration, what's actually happening scientifically is that the wavelength of the notes, the wavelengths are just sort of resonating at a weird intersection with each other, and they create this kind of crunchy sound. So when we say we have a diatonic scale, every other note, the other note we're talking about is we skip the accidental and we go to the next one. Right? So how can we make this way easier for kids to actually be able to play? Well, it's not just kids, it's grown-ups too. And the way that we can do this is just by taking notes away. So here again is where those 2 dissonant notes are right next to each other on our rainbow Glockenspiel. That's one, and here's the other place where they're right next to each other and they just don't want to get along. So what we can do is we can just take them out, and I'll show you how to do it. The instrument is designed to be able to do this. It's not the most comfortable thing, so I think that teachers will need to help children be able to do this. But basically, you just press down on the little rubber ball and lift up, and boom, there it is. And I'll do it for the purple one also. So now, instead of a C major scale, or a C diatonic scale, now we have a C pentatonic scale. Penta means 5, like a pentagon, and tonic means tone or note, so 5 notes. So we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then our red note is a repeat, an octave up of the one we have here. So we don't count that. We actually have 6 bars, but we have 5 separate notes. So that's where the pentatonic comes from. And the way this scale sounds, basically it eliminates any dissonance that you may have in the diatonic scale that may come up. So I'm just going to play a little bit, and I'm really going to play at random, and I encourage you to do this too, just to see how safe it feels, that anything you play is going to just sound really nice. Something like that. If you have a wind chime at home, something that you have outside, odds are the wind chime is also in a pentatonic scale, just so that when the different chimes are ringing against each other, you also, again, don't have those dissonant notes, that they always sound good. There's always good vibrations in the air. And you can see that when I took the bars out, I'm just sort of setting them in here inside the instrument, just so that you don't lose them. As soon as they leave, right, who knows where they're going to go. So it's nice to keep them just stored right there, so that when you're done playing, you can put it back. But before I put it away, I just wanted to go over one last thing, which is one of the activities that I led in my class on Wednesday, which is just a little bit of story scoring. So I started off the lesson just by giving children some really easy musical vocabulary things that they can do with their instruments. So whether it's a slide up or down, or maybe a swish in the middle, or maybe like a stepwise motion, like you're climbing stairs. There you go. Or just random notes. This is our snowfall notes. Anything that sounds good. And you can hear that even when you play notes totally randomly, they just all sound very pleasing. So something that you can do with your kids, especially preschoolers, since they all have these instruments, is you can do story scoring in your class. So if you have a favorite storybook that you like to read, especially one that has a lot of movement in it, different kinds of movement, sneaking, running, jumping, splashing, leaping, anything like that, that's really, really good to be able to replicate on the Glockenspiel. That way the kids, they have a safe space just in their instrument. They know everything's going to sound good, and they can really feel encouraged to really lean in to the musicality of what they're playing and the feeling of what they're playing, without having to worry so much about, okay, I'm going to play the red note, and then I'm going to play the light blue note, then I'm going to play this note, oh, but I was supposed to play a different note. You know, that way you don't get too into your head, and you can just focus on getting comfortable with the instrument and playing and making beautiful sounds. So we're going to work a little bit more about the pentatonic scale next week as well, but I just wanted to show this to you to get started and to have this conversation. And for infant and toddler teachers, I think you can definitely still do this kind of thing. Even if you only have one Glockenspiel like this in your classroom, you know, the teacher could hold the Glockenspiel out, and then if you just disinfect the mallet each time, kids can take turns playing different little sections in your story. And then when you're done, just take the bar and very gently and gingerly, but firmly, push it down, and you have your Glockenspiel all set, ready to go. That way the notes don't go anywhere, we don't have any lost bars, and it's ready to go for the next time. I hope this was helpful information for you. I'll be leading these kinds of exercises in my Zoom classes with Glockenspiels. I'm sure a lot of the music specialists will be doing that as well. And I just hope that you really use this time and this instrument to have a new outlet and a new way to explore music making in the space in the classroom together. Thanks everyone for a beautiful Tuesday. Stay warm, stay safe, and I will see you next week. Bye.